Mojave Desert, California. August 1971. The sun hammers down on a dirt road 50 miles from anything that could be called civilization. Heat waves shimmer above the asphalt. The landscape is hostile, beautiful, and merciless. Steve McQueen sits on his motorcycle at the side of the road, a 1970 Triumph Bonneville, custom modified. He's wearing jeans, boots, a white t-shirt, sunglasses. His face is tanned from hours riding in the desert. He's the biggest movie star in the world, the king of cool. But right now, he's just a man with an overheating engine, waiting for it to cool enough to continue. He doesn't see them approaching until they're close. 12 motorcycles, Harleys mostly. Big bikes making a sound like rolling thunder. They emerge from the heat distortion like predators materializing from thin air. They circle McQueen slowly. Not friendly, not curious, predatory. The leader is a man called Tank, 6'3", 260 pounds, president of a motorcycle club that operates in the gray areas between legal and criminal. His club controls certain stretches of desert road. They don't like civilians on their territory, especially rich civilians on expensive custom bikes. Tank stops his Harley 10 feet from McQueen, cuts the engine. The silence that follows is worse than the noise. 11 other bikes idle in a loose circle. 12 men, one Steve McQueen. "Nice bike," Tank says. His voice carries the flat menace of someone who's used violence so often it's become routine. McQueen doesn't respond immediately. He's been in dangerous situations before. Street racing in his youth, bar fights. He knows when someone's looking for trouble and when they're looking for a reason. These men are looking for both. "Thanks," McQueen says. Neutral tone, not aggressive, not submissive. "How much you pay for it?" "Custom built, hard to put a price on it." Tank grins. No warmth in it. "Everything's got a price. Question is whether you're willing to pay it." The other 11 bikers dismount. They spread out slightly, not quite encircling McQueen completely, but close. The tactical positioning is obvious. If this turns violent, McQueen has nowhere to go. "I don't want any trouble," McQueen says. He keeps his hands visible, non-threatening, but his mind is calculating. 12 against 1. Middle of nowhere. No witnesses, no help coming. "Then you shouldn't have ridden through our territory," Tank replies. He walks closer. Now his boots crunch on the gravel. "This road? It's ours. You want to use it? There's a toll." "I didn't see any signs." "You're looking at the sign right now." Tank is standing 5 feet away now, close enough that McQueen can smell the sweat and engine oil, close enough to be a physical threat. The other bikers tighten their circle. This is going somewhere bad. "How much?" McQueen asks. "The bike." McQueen's jaw tightens. He built this motorcycle himself. Months of work. It's not transportation, it's art. "Not happening." Tank's expression doesn't change. "Then we take it, and maybe we take more than that." The threat is explicit now. Violence isn't coming. It's here, waiting for the excuse to be unleashed. 12 men who've hurt people before and will do it again without hesitation. And one movie star in the middle of the Mojave Desert, with no script, no stunt coordinator, no director to yell cut. McQueen's options are limited. Fight 12 men? Impossible. Run? They'd catch him before he got 20 feet. Give them the bike? Maybe. But then what stops them from taking more? From making this worse? Then he hears it. Another motorcycle engine. Different sound. Not a Harley. Something lighter. Faster. The sound gets closer. Someone else is on this desert road. The circle of bikers turns to look. A single rider appears. Black motorcycle, black helmet, black jacket. The bike isn't large, not a cruiser like the Harleys. Something designed for speed and maneuverability. The rider stops 50 feet away, cuts the engine, removes the helmet. Bruce Lee. McQueen's eyes widen behind his sunglasses. He knows Bruce. They've trained together. Bruce has been teaching him martial arts for 2 years. But what's Bruce doing here? In the middle of the Mojave Desert at the exact moment McQueen needs help? Later, McQueen would learn the truth. Bruce had been riding in the same area, training his reflexes and awareness through high-speed desert riding. Pure coincidence that their routes intersected. Or fate, depending on what you believe. Tank looks at the newcomer. Small Chinese man on a small bike. Not threatening, not relevant. Keep riding, friend. This doesn't concern you. Bruce walks toward the group. His movements are unhurried, relaxed, but those who know him would recognize the walk, the specific way he carries his weight, the alertness hiding behind casual posture. "Steve," Bruce says, acknowledging McQueen. You having some trouble?" "Nothing I can't handle," McQueen replies. But his eyes say different. His eyes say, "Thank God you're here." Tank's attention shifts fully to Bruce now. "I said this doesn't concern you. Ride away while you still can." Bruce stops 10 feet from Tank. He's smaller than the biker by 5 inches and 80 pounds. 12 men surround them now, 12-2. Still terrible odds, but better than 12-1. "I can't do that," Bruce says quietly. "Steve's my friend." Tank laughs. The other bikers join in. It's not humor. It's the laughter of predators who've identified prey. "Your friend? That's sweet. Real sweet. Tell you what, you can both leave the bikes and walk. We'll let you live." "Counteroffer," Bruce says. His voice hasn't changed. Still quiet. Still calm. "You let us both ride out of here. Nobody gets hurt." The laughter stops. Tank's face hardens. "You threatening me? You and your friend against all of us?" "Not threatening. Offering you a way out of a situation that ends badly for everyone." Tank takes a step closer to Bruce, looming, using his size as intimidation. "How's it end badly for us? We're 12. You're 2. And you—" He looks Bruce up and down with contempt. "You look like you weigh about as much as my left leg." Bruce doesn't react to the size comparison. He's heard it before. He'll hear it again. Size matters in some contexts, but not all contexts, not the contexts he's trained for. "Steve," Bruce says, not taking his eyes off Tank. "When this starts, get behind me. Stay low." McQueen understands. Bruce isn't here to negotiate. He's here to fight. 12 men. And one of them will be busy protecting McQueen. That leaves Bruce against 12. "Bruce," McQueen says. There's concern in his voice, real fear for his friend. "These aren't movie extras. This is real." "I know," Bruce replies simply. "Before we continue this incredible desert rescue, if you're fascinated by these celebrity and real-world danger stories where Bruce Lee's martial arts saved lives, subscribe and turn on notifications." This is the encounter that Steve McQueen never spoke about publicly, but told privately to only his closest friends. The day his martial arts teacher became something else entirely. Now let's see what happened in the Mojave Desert. Tank has had enough talking. He lunges forward, grabs for Bruce's jacket. Standard biker fight technique. Grab, throw, overwhelm with size. His hands close on fabric. No, but Bruce isn't there anymore. He slipped the grab, moved 6 inches to the side. Tank's momentum carries him forward. Bruce's elbow snaps up, catches Tank under the jaw. Not full power, controlled, but precise. Tank's head rocks back. He stumbles. The first shockwave runs through the group. Their president just got hit by the small Chinese guy. The other 11 react. Not coordinated, not tactical, just aggressive swarming. They rush Bruce from multiple angles. This is what Bruce prepared for, not in a dojo. On rooftops in Hong Kong, against multiple opponents with actual hostile intent. His movement becomes something almost impossible to describe. Not fighting 12 men sequentially, fighting 12 points of attack simultaneously, reading their approach vectors, their weight distribution, their intention before it becomes action. A biker swings a chain. Bruce's hand catches the chain mid-swing, redirects it. The chain whips around and catches another biker across the face. Two neutralized in one motion. Another biker comes low. Tackle attempt. Bruce's knee rises. Controlled strike to the shoulder. The biker's momentum redirected downward. He crashes face first into the desert dirt. McQueen watches from behind Bruce. His training with Bruce suddenly makes sense in a way it never did before. In the gym, Bruce's techniques looked effective. Here, against 12 men trying to hurt him, they look supernatural. Tank recovers. He's enraged now. Nobody hits him. Nobody makes him look foolish. He picks up a motorcycle kickstand, heavy steel, swings it like a club, the kind of weapon that breaks bones, ends fights permanently. Bruce sees it coming, doesn't retreat, moves inside the swing. The kickstand passes behind him. His palm strike catches Tank's solar plexus. Precise, devastating. Tank's diaphragm spasms. He can't breathe. The kickstand falls from his hand. He drops to his knees, gasping. 18 seconds have elapsed. The remaining bikers freeze. Their president is on his knees. 4 of their crew are on the ground. The small Chinese man is standing in the center of their circle, not breathing hard, not sweating, just standing there, waiting. Anyone else? Bruce asks. His voice is still quiet, still calm, like he's asking if anyone wants more coffee. One biker, younger than the others, more courage than sense, charges, roaring, arms wide for a bear hug. Bruce waits until the last possible moment. Sidesteps. The biker's momentum carries him past. There, Bruce's leg sweeps. The biker goes down hard, doesn't get back up. The others look at each other. The calculation is changing. They came here expecting an easy shakedown. A rich movie star, no resistance. Now 5 of them are on the ground, and the small man hasn't even broken a sweat. Tank is still on his knees, still trying to breathe. Bruce walks to him, crouches down, brings himself to eye level. "Listen carefully," Bruce says. His voice is low enough that only Tank can hear. "Steve McQueen is under my protection. You try this again, with him or anyone else on this road, I'll come back. And next time I won't hold back." Tank looks into Bruce's eyes. What he sees there is worse than the physical demonstration. He sees absolute certainty. A man who has calculated every outcome and knows he'll win them all. Bruce stands, walks back to McQueen. "We should go, before they remember they have motorcycles and might try to chase us." McQueen is staring at Bruce like he's seeing him for the first time. "Bruce, what the hell was that?" "Jeet Kune do. Applied practically." They mount their motorcycles, fire the engines, the circle of bikers parts. Nobody moves to stop them. They ride away into the desert heat. Behind them, Tank pulls himself to his feet. His crew gathers around him, checking on those who were put down. Nobody's seriously injured, but everyone is changed. Subscribe and turn on notifications because we have more celebrity rescue and real danger encounters coming that prove Bruce Lee's martial arts weren't just for cameras. Drop a comment about what surprised you most. Now let's see what happened after the desert encounter. Now they ride for 20 miles before stopping, finally certain they're not being followed. McQueen pulls over, cuts his engine, removes his helmet. His hands are shaking slightly, adrenaline finally catching up to him. "You just fought 12 men, McQueen says. He's trying to process it, trying to reconcile what he saw with what he thought possible. 12. Actual bikers, not extras, not stunt guys, real criminals who wanted to hurt us. 11, Bruce corrects. You were the 12th person present. Bruce, this isn't a joke. Those men could have killed us. They could have tried. McQueen shakes his head. I've been training with you for 2 years. I've seen you demonstrate. I've seen you spar. But that... He gestures back toward where they came from. That was different. Demonstration is showing what's possible. Now that was making it necessary. 18 seconds. I counted. You dropped 5 men in 18 seconds. I didn't drop them. I controlled them. There's a difference. If I wanted to drop them, truly incapacitate them, it would have been faster. McQueen pulls out a cigarette, lights it with shaking hands, takes a long drag. Why were you out here? In the middle of the Mojave? Same road? Same time? Bruce looks at the desert horizon, heat waves still shimmering. Training. High-speed riding develops reflexes, awareness. Reading terrain at speed translates to reading opponents in combat. Convenient timing. Or fate. Depends what you believe. They sit in silence for a moment. The desert is quiet except for wind. McQueen smokes, processes, finally speaks. I need to train harder. What you showed me in the gym? I thought I understood it. I didn't understand anything. You understand the techniques. What you saw today was the application. The difference between knowing a language and thinking in that language. Can you teach me that? The real thing, not the demonstration version. Bruce considers this. McQueen is his student, but more than that, his friend. Teaching the demonstration version is what Bruce does for most students. Teaching the real application is something else, something reserved for those who need it, who might face real danger. What happened today? That could happen again? McQueen nods. I ride these roads a lot, alone. I've had confrontations before. Nothing this bad, but yeah, it could happen again. Then yes, I'll teach you the real thing, but it's not about techniques. And it's about changing how you think about confrontation, how you read situations, how you position yourself so violence becomes unnecessary. But if it becomes necessary, then you end it quickly, like today. They train together differently after that day. Not in a gym, in realistic scenarios, parking lots, narrow alleys, situations where McQueen might actually need to defend himself. Bruce teaches him awareness, how to read a situation before it becomes violent, how to position yourself so attackers can't coordinate effectively. McQueen asks about the desert encounter constantly, trying to understand specific moments. When Tank swung the kickstand at you, how did you know to move inside instead of away? Outside the swing, the weapon has full momentum. Inside, it hasn't accelerated yet. Less force, more control. When that biker tried to bear hug you, you waited until the last second. Why? Timing. If I move too early, he adjusts. If I wait until his commitment is total, he can't change direction. His momentum becomes his enemy. The chain grab. You used one attacker's weapon against another attacker. Is that something you planned? Opportunistic. I saw the chain, saw the positioning of the other biker, recognized the geometry. Not planned. Recognized. McQueen trains with Bruce for another 2 years, until Bruce's death in 1973. He never faces a situation like the desert encounter again, but he carries the knowledge, the awareness, the understanding that violence has geometry and physics and psychology. Years later, in 1979, Steve McQueen would be diagnosed with mesothelioma, cancer, terminal. During his final year, he gave several interviews to trusted journalists. In one, conducted privately and never published, he talked about Bruce. People remember Bruce for his movies. for his speed, for his philosophy. I remember him for something else. I remember standing in the Mojave Desert, watching 12 men who wanted to hurt me, hurt us, and I watched him turn that situation from a death sentence into a lesson. Not through brutality, through precision. The interviewer asked if McQueen ever felt afraid that day. Before Bruce arrived? Terrified? After? No, because I saw something that day. I saw what mastery actually looks like. Not movie mastery, not demonstration mastery. Actual, functional, real-world mastery. The kind that saves lives. The encounter in the Mojave Desert was witnessed by 14 people, 12 bikers. Steve McQueen, Bruce Lee, none of the bikers ever reported it. Speaking about losing a confrontation against a man half your size isn't something that builds reputation in motorcycle clubs. Tank disappeared from California in 1972. Rumored to have relocated to Nevada, his club disbanded shortly after. McQueen never spoke about it publicly, but those close to him knew. His intensity about martial arts training after 1971 was different. Before the desert, it was hobby. After, it was survival skill. He understood the difference between knowing techniques and being able to apply them when 12 men want to hurt you. Bruce never spoke about it either. For him, it was just application of principles he'd been teaching for years. The desert location was unusual. The number of opponents was high. But the principle was the same. Read the situation. Position correctly. Use minimum force for maximum effect. But the encounter had an impact on his teaching. After 1971, Bruce emphasized scenario training more heavily. Not just techniques in the gym. Techniques under stress, against multiple opponents, in environments that weren't controlled. His students noticed the change. Dan Inosanto, who had been training with Bruce for years, asked him about it. "You're teaching differently," Dan said. "More emphasis on realistic application, multiple attackers, environmental awareness." "Experience," Bruce replied. "Recent experience reminded me that demonstration and application are different skills. I want my students to have both." "What experience?" Bruce just smiled. "Let's say I had an opportunity to test principles against reality. The principles held up." The desert encounter became one of those stories that exists in the gap between public knowledge and private reality. McQueen's friends knew something had happened. Bruce's students noticed a shift in his teaching, but the details stayed private, kept between two men who faced 12 and walked away, until McQueen's death in 1980, when his widow found journals, private writings he never intended to publish. On August 14, 1971, he had written, "Today, Bruce saved my life, not metaphorically, literally. 12 men, middle of nowhere. I thought I was going to die. Bruce appeared like something out of a movie. Except this wasn't a movie. This was real. And what he did was real. 18 seconds. I counted. 12 men neutralized or controlled. Not hurt badly, not destroyed. I'm just convinced that continuing was a bad idea. I've been training with him for 2 years. I thought I understood what he could do. I understood nothing. Today I saw Jeet Kune Do applied against people who wanted to hurt us, really hurt us. And I realized that everything I've been learning wasn't theoretical. It was preparation for moments exactly like this. I owe Bruce my life. More than that. I owe him the understanding that martial arts isn't performance. It's survival. And mastery isn't about looking good. It's about going home alive." That journal entry was shared by McQueen's family decades later. It's the only first-hand account of the Mojave Desert encounter, the only documentation that it happened. But for those who knew Bruce, who understood his capabilities, who had seen him demonstrate principles under controlled conditions. The story makes perfect sense. Mojave Desert, August 1971. 12 men against 1, then 12 against 2. Then the physics of combat, proving that numbers mean less than positioning, less than awareness, less than the ability to read 12 points of attack and respond to all of them simultaneously. Steve McQueen rode away that day with his custom Triumph Bonneville, his life, and a story he would tell only in private, to people he trusted. About the day his martial arts teacher demonstrated that the lessons in the gym translated directly to the desert, that Jeet Kune wasn't philosophy, it was functional reality, and Bruce Lee rode away knowing that the principles he'd been refining for years had been tested against the kind of chaos most martial artists never face. 12 attackers, real hostile intent, no referee, no rules. It just survival, and the principles had worked exactly as designed.